Hi everyone, this is going to be reading on your ancestral power and what your ancestors would like to say to you at this moment. So, these are going to be the 4 piles. They're all Alexandrite. This will be pile 1, this will be pile 2, 3, and pile 4. So you can pause the video and meditate on those. For pile 1, you chose this Alexandrite. Let's get right into it. Spirit, what is pile 1's ancestral power? We have the Lovers. I've been waiting to show y'all this card. We have the Ace of Goblets. And we have Judgment in reversed. Okay. Something about the power that is channeled through your ancestors is very special, very unique or one of a kind, rare. It's like something you wouldn't see every day, I guess you could say, but is actually quite straightforward and to the truth. There's like an emphasis on it not being like really a dark sort of power, and it being sort of a power made out of neutrality and balance. And balance in such a complex way that it can create a beautiful art form. As in, like, let's say 2 things were reflecting each other and dancing together, and those two beings were mirrored into another 2 beings, and so those 2 mirrored projections were mirroring each other, and then that folded into another mirroring, and it just kept going on infinitely, and it's all perfectly mirrored and symmetrical. So maybe your ancestors have for a long time been in like touch with the higher realms, or the 4th or 5th dimension, and so it's just sort of something that's like written into your DNA already, like it has been for a long time. And there's something about this balance in the power that this brings you that, like, it's perfection. And I mean that in a way that it's so perfectly balanced that it's like so satisfying, like chef's kiss. That's why I feel like it's such a rare, unique thing, because something about it just feels so correct. Maybe this is some sort of ability you have or creative channeling you're able to do. I'm also hearing this could just be the energy that was passed down from your ancestors through you, like the power that has kept that flame going all the way down the bloodline. Look at this Lovers. Every time I look at it, I'm just like fixated. I love The Shape of Water, by the way. If y'all haven't seen The Shape of Water, you should see it. It's good. But what I think I find most significant about this card is that these two beings come from completely separate worlds, like the water and the land. They're completely different, and yet they still feel this mutuality. They see themselves in each other. Maybe part of your ancestral power is being able to see yourself in another person. And this goes beyond empathy. Maybe you have something to do with like mirroring or the water world, because they're underwater. They're underwater right now because they don't embrace until they jump into the water together. And that's when they finally are together. That's when they finally find that mutuality. They aren't being affected by other outside forces. Maybe this power gets to the point where you can influence people without realizing it, to the point where nothing can stop you. Like no outside force can stop you. I just heard for some of you this might actually be like the power to use like love to your advantage, or like with the Ace of Goblets, you have a full cup. You're self-fulfilled, and you know how to use this beauty and love within yourself for something beautiful, not just for yourself but for other people. And you find that when you use mutuality, it makes it so much easier to find that harmony, that balance that creates a sort of art between people, like a conversation. And look, there's a hand handing this cup, this full cup, to another. And this blood that is dripping onto the hand makes me feel like it is at the expense of something. It is a sacrifice of something. You know, you have to put trust into someone else to be able to do that. And I feel like what is your ancestral power is being able to have that confidence and that trust in yourself and other people to be able to reach them on that level. Judgment reverse. I'm hearing that something that's been passed on down to you, you know, through your ancestors, is that the ability to avoid the unavoidable and to help the people around you. Like anybody who comes into contact with you, you can have that same effect on them, where like things that were they were doomed. Absolutely, their fate was sealed. And all of a sudden you come up and then everything just reverses. Like, no, just kidding. We're completely fine. You're good. We just barely dodged that, but we're good. I think it's just your uncanny ability to bring balance to a situation, but also something that, like, your energy, I feel like your ancestors surround you like an aura. And they're sort of like surrounding you. I don't know how else to explain this. They're like all around you. They're literally, and it's like by doing this, they're sort of powering you up. They're like putting their power into you, you know? And the extent of this power, the depth of this power makes it to where you can literally do the impossible. Judgment means divine order, divine plan, but you bring chaos to that. You bring something different. You change fate. That's your ancestral power. You bring life to something new, something different. The thing about the universe is there's always got to be something new, you know? You are, you know, your ancestors have always been the ones to, like, be that first step, that first idea, that first, like, this can be possible. Maybe your ancestors are like the first little fishies to be like, what if we did walk on the sand though? Okay, let me stop. Spirit, what does Power One's ancestors gotta say to them right now? General current energy for Power One's ancestors. Give me 3 cards, please. Okay, we have completion at the bottom of the deck. The Wheel of Fortune. So, maybe you just completed a cycle, maybe you're in the process of completing one, maybe you're about to complete one, but either way, they're proud of you. It feels like this energy of you've gotten so far, you've grown so much to a point where they never thought you'd be this way. Maybe you never thought your life would turn out this way, but I mean, it's surprises all around. With this Wheel of Fortune, it's like clear that anything is possible within this infinite universe. And I feel like your ancestors want you to know that you are a piece of that. You are a piece of that. Like, you are actually a huge inspiration to other people with the stuff you bring to the table, so unique, so new, so unheard of. And not only that, but you're bold with it. You're not afraid of it. You embrace it to the point where you make other people believe in it too, because I don't know, it's like you're embracing a new status quo and you're kind of changing the world with your beliefs. And your ancestors want you to know that you can change the world with your beliefs. You can use that to your advantage. We've got Princess of Discs. Your ancestors like, have gratitude, you're pampered, we pamper you. They're like, just realize that we're doing a lot of stuff for you behind the scenes. Like just think about it for a second. Some of these are coincidences, okay? You know, we were there too. That's what they want to tell you. They were like, we have been backing you up, you know. But we also, they're also like, they realize that you are having to, you have this legacy with this Princess of Discs. You have this legacy to take on the karmic, you know, stuff that has been passed down through your ancestral line. And your ancestors realize that you are having the strength to move through things and grow from things that they never could have. And that's why they put so much power, so much of their power and their love into you. I'm hearing that they're saying like they're there with you through hardship and to not get too attached to the 3D. And it's because you can sort of like get caught up in it, and they want to remind you what's beyond that. They want you to talk to them more often. With the Emperor here, it's like maybe you have a specific like masculine ancestor that's like watching over you for some of you. But your ancestors are like, whoa, like, you have the power. What power? The power of the babe. Seriously though, like, the Emperor is about like having everything together, having an empire together, having that balance to be able to not only have control over yourself, but such a vast state of affairs, I guess you could say. Your ancestors want you to realize that your power stretches far. The balance you keep within yourself and the growth you make within yourself goes way beyond just you. It also goes to the generations after you. It goes to the people in your immediate vicinity. You change people deeply without realizing it. Your energy just being in the room deeply affects people and you don't realize it. But you have the power to bring the stability to the room. Literally most of the time, like, you're projecting this sort of masculine energy because you're bringing the stability to the room. And you're saying you have the power to be a leader like that. Because you are really fortunate, you're really intuitive. You know how to stay in tune with the divine plan or the divine order. You know how to just flow in a way that, like, isn't resistant to the universe. It's like a fish flowing like downstream instead of upstream. Astral projection is really important for you. Or just like guided meditations. There's something about like your third eye being really like powerful and you being able to like use your mind to a strong degree. You might be able to manifest really well. Anything, you can manifest anything in 3D, which is why they don't want you to focus on the 3D too much, because they don't want you to get caught up in that. Like, I mean, yeah, it's good to know how to do those things, but there's other things that your abilities can be used for, is what they want to tell you. Like, if you had the power to change the world as the Emperor, what would you do? And then, you know, figure that with yourself, change that within yourself. But look at this point reversed. They are so fond of you. They're like, wow. Literally disappointment in reversed. They have no disappointments over you. They're like, they're going above and beyond. And they're just so proud of you. But it's like, the more you go above and beyond like this, the more they're like, okay, like, now our expectations are kind of high. They're like, damn, like, we underestimated Padawan. Because there's something about your ancestors, this specific generation with you, like, I guess, like, maybe your parents or your grandparents didn't do much in terms of like karmic change in the bloodline, but for you it's like a sudden rapid fire like growth. Your ancestor is saying put more education into your abilities, your psychic abilities, and your basically the arcane, the mythologies, magic. Some of you would be really benefit from magic. But yeah, I guess I'll just pull one more card because there's still something going on. So, Spirit, is anything else that my okay, so specifically, like, if there's some sort of emotional situation you were stuck on or something you've been trying to, like, move on from or change in your life, you need to take a step back and just, like, chill, is what they're saying. Stop thinking so hard about the future. The answers will come to you naturally once you chill the fuck out. Like, Kung Fu Panda fucking type shit when he was like, you let the fucking water still. Look, you can see clearly. It's perfectly mirrored. So, but it's not only that. If you're letting yourself get muddied up like that, you're planting seeds in your mind that will end up manifesting the opposite of what you want. So that's why it's so important for you to keep that optimistic mindset and keep not even necessarily optimistic, just like not negative. Keep your mindset from overthinking so you're always sort of aligned with what you truly believe instead of just like jumping to conclusions all the time because your mind is wandering, if that makes sense. And I'm hearing that if you're in that meditative state like that, you'll be able to focus on what you really want in this life. Okay, Pile 2. You chose this, Alexandra. Which looks like it has a little keyhole in the middle. I'm gonna start with what your ancestors want to say to you for this pile. Spirit, connect me to pile 2. And their eye is good. Spirit, what do my pile 2's ancestors want to say to them right now? Okay. We have adjustment. So maybe there's something you're having to go through in your life right now or adjust to. We have the Aeon, or the Fool, and the Hermit. So maybe you're just trying to make light out of the situation and still be doing your own thing and like good and balanced in your own energy and not like getting too messed up about the situation, even though you're trying to look within yourself. But you're doing that by sort of connecting with your inner child and letting yourself just feel impulsively. Your ancestors are saying there was a lot you weren't privy to. There was a lot that was hidden behind the scenes for you that, like, it's like now the cat's out of the bag. Or it's like now that the cat's out of that bag, yeah, your ancestors are like, they know it's been a constant adjustment for you. Like, these things that have been happening to you have just been back to back to back, and that's why you've just been trying to enjoy the moment. Your ancestors are saying try something new, do some things you haven't done before, or go somewhere, like go on a walk somewhere you haven't gone before. Maybe even listen to music you haven't listened to before, or try a new technique with something you like to do. Just because you might feel trapped in the same old cycle, especially when you have stuff that's been going on that has been hurting you and has been causing you pain. Your ancestors they're like, we know you've been feeling super alone with the Hermit here, and these situations that have been going on with you have been making you feel super alone. And they want you to know that you're not alone, that they're there for you, but they know that it's not the same. They know that you have to go through these things alone, but they wish it didn't have to be so hard for you. I feel like with you, Pile 2, you go through so much. But like, that's just sort of who you are, is like a person who can adjust to anything, who always sort of finds a way to balance the situation out no matter what is thrown at them. And throughout all of it is able to keep this Fool energy, this energy of playfulness, of seeing the world as if it's brand new. And everything is just to be discovered. Your ancestors saying you're very intuitive, or you have a strong ability for psychic stuff. I feel like you should like tap more into spirituality or something. Or maybe not even that, just like look within yourself and see what it is that you like to do and why you like to do it, why it makes you happy, why it makes you feel better, why it makes things easier for you. And like really examine why. Like, maybe you'd have to like look through all of your memories and all the patterns of who you are, and to see maybe like, yeah, like I feel like maybe it would be beneficial for you to do a memory meditation or a past life meditation or an infant memory meditation, or maybe just a mind clearing meditation if you've actually rather been stuck in your memories, because there's a lot you have to adjust to, and maybe it kind of pushes you to be in your inner child energy, because it's like if you didn't let loose like that, you would be so, it's like you would shatter like glass. The pressure would just shatter you, but you're balanced just on the tip of that sword, just perfectly. It's like I'm walking the edge, I feel like I'd fall. Your ancestors saying, or like maybe talk to someone, maybe have some friends or some family, someone you can talk to, someone you're close to, so you can just like, because maybe you don't realize how much pain you're in, is what they're saying. Spirit, what is Pile 2's ancestral power? What powers have been passed on to them through their ancestors? We got the Hermit again. Immediately I'm getting your ancestors have always been like really poor, like really not well off. Like karmically, I feel like throughout your whole bloodline, you've never really like been pampered or had that luxury lifestyle. You've always had to live a humble lifestyle, your ancestors, and I feel like ended up having to see the darker parts of the world because of that. Like your ancestors are way more attuned to the darker parts of the world, and because of that they had to find the light within themselves through extreme darkness. They had to find that key. I'm also hearing like seeing through darkness, so maybe like you may use the shadow realm, maybe you just see through darkness, like that's your ancestral power. Maybe you see other people's shadow sides, or you have the ability to like see what other people find negative about themselves. Three of Cups. I feel like you have an uncanny ability to understand people or social situations. Maybe your ancestors have always sort of had to be really extremely wary of like the social situation because anything could go wrong at the drop of a hat. And so it's sort of ingrained into your DNA to have good social skills and social abilities and the ability to tell like emotional intelligence, like to be able to tell when other people are going to go off or be upset. And also I'm hearing with the Three of Cups, like something about communication, like maybe it's the way you talk, or this could be some sort of telepathic communication you have the ability to do. I'm hearing for some of you talking to the dead, like literally beyond the veil, seeing beyond the veil. Friends with dead people. I have friends on the other side. Shit. Let's see. Maybe some of your friends have similar like ancestral fate, like I feel like some of your friends are like soulmates in your life have like parallel bloodline fate, like their ancestors had like a parallel fate to your ancestors. One more card. One more card for my pile two's ancestral power. Okay. So even though your ancestors have like the energy worth to be able to gain in the material world, it's like karmically they focused on growing in the mind and emotionally and socially, I guess you could say. You could talk yourself out of any situation without you realizing it. I think you don't realize how well you're able to. I'm hearing sweet talk people. We have the High Priestess here. And with the red she's wearing, it's just giving me the energy that you have an uncanny ability to like draw people in and make them listen to you for whatever reason. Because people feel like whatever you're saying goes, and it's like people just assume you wouldn't lie. They assume what you're saying is true because they're just like, yeah, why wouldn't it be? They have literally, like most of the time, people literally know like reason in their mind why you wouldn't be telling the truth, whether or not they trust you. It's just the way you talk or the way you express yourself to people is just like, you know exactly how to get your point across, and people like feel like they can see exactly what you're saying. With the high priest, literally the high priestess is an ancestral power. Your ancestors have, like, maybe some of them could have done magic. Maybe a lot of them did magic, yeah. But just had this sort of high standing in the spiritual world because of their ability, like their abilities. I'm feeling like for a long time, okay, this is weird. I didn't know this is something that happened, but I guess it makes sense. Your family might, like, know that they have sort of, like, magic abilities, I guess, if that makes sense. Or, like, they're more open and aware of, like, with this, the high priestess energy of their, like, own power. And, like, this typically attracts other people with the same, like, amount of power. Like, what I'm saying is, throughout your bloodline for a long time, people with this unimaginable power have been meeting attracting these other people with unimaginable power, and have just been making more and more crazy combinations of people with unimaginable power. And that's, like, you, like, at the epicenter of that all. And for some of you, this is intentional, like your family knew that they were doing this. But for a lot of you, this is just, like, how it happens. Yeah, your ancestral power is the ability to literally bring anything to existence. Because look at this paper she has. She can literally manifest anything. She write it down and it comes true. And I feel like you part of your ancestral power is that you know your way around with things, even without being familiar to them. So let's say cities and towns you've never been to, and you just find your way around really easily. Or maybe it pertains to subjects in school that you've, like, never really learned about, but you're able to just pass right through it. I'm feeling like your ancestors are really smart in the mind. They're smart in the spiritual world. They're smart in the social world. There's something about your ancestors, your bloodline, having ties to a lot of people. Like, over the years, your ancestors have touched the hearts of so many different souls from so many different bloodlines that your fate is tied with a lot of different people, and you're meant to teach and learn from a lot of different people with the same unimaginable power that you have. But with the Hermit here, I'm literally hearing we don't talk about Bruno. Like, maybe you have some sort of, like, ability to see into the future. Maybe whatever you see with your psychic abilities is really hard for you to see. Maybe for some of you, it's even brought you misfortune because of how hard the truth can be to accept. Yeah, but despite this darkness, I feel like what specifically is cool about your ancestral power is that with this Alexandrite we have here, you have the key. You are the key, my pile, to finding that light in the middle of it all. Because you see through this darkness, you wield this darkness to your advantage. That's why you're so intuitive, because you literally dwell in the darkness. That's how you're able to see through the light so clearly. And that's why you're able to see and understand other people to such a degree. because you see how all people relate. You see how all people are sort of the same in some ways. In specific, I'm hearing that you see how other people look at themselves. You turn 2 to 1. Like, you balance stuff out to where it turns 2 to 1. Like, I'm hearing 3, 2, 1. Like, you literally simplify everything. That's your ancestral power, is like, you make it no more complex, and you simplify it back down to the one thing that the high priestess follows. And why is this your power? Because you don't question it. You just wield it. Like, you wield that power like it was just always meant to be who you are. Because you see that truth in yourself. You see the universe not only in yourself but in other people. And so you accept, no matter how grotesque, no matter how dark, that reality within yourself and in other people. That's why you get along with other people so well, because you're so comfortable with that darkness, not just within yourself but with other people. And you make other people feel more comfortable with their own darkness. Okay, pile 3. You chose this Alexandrite. It's not quite focusing. Let's see. Spirit, connect me to pile 3. Connect me to pile 3's vibes. What's the vibes, pile 3? What is your ancestral power? We have the Empress in reversed. Maybe your ancestors had to like play the mother figure a lot in their lives for a lot of childish souls, but the time for that has ended. I'm feeling like now it's sort of like your turn to be childish. Like, that's how you fix the generational karma, is by ending these patterns of mothering and nurturing, and sort of like letting yourself be a child instead of having to look out for other people, look out for yourself. Spirit, where's Palpatine's ancestral power? We have Valet of Wands in reversed. So things in your life are going to happen really subtly. Things for you, when you take action, things don't happen very fast, but it's sort of like more in the long term. Like, you affect things strongly in the long term, but when it comes to impulsiveness, it doesn't really work out that well for you. But if you like work at something for a while, or you manifest something for a while, it always stays for you. Like, you can manifest something forever, because these things just get brought into your life in a way where they stay as long as you want them to, instead of it just happening really fast, like instant gratification. Yeah, you have the ability to make things last is what I'm hearing. Or make things that last. Whether this be businesses or projects or creative projects or relationships or social or political stuff. Spirit, one more card from my pile 3. My pile 3 is ancestral power. We have 3 of Pentacles. So again, you have a strong influence in the material world. Maybe you're an earth sign, pile 3. You should have a strong ability to ground other people and keep yourself grounded. I'm hearing 10 toes on the ground. Even though you tend to lose your grip on reality and live in your own sort of dream world or reality, it's like you still have the uncanny ability to make things happen for yourself and not really have to work too hard to like focus to be able to make things happen. You just sort of keep the intention over a long period of time, and the universe just sort of drifts you through the currents in that way because your intentions are pure. But the Empress in reverse here, I'm just getting this Lilith energy, like strong Lilith energy. Like, even though you have the ability to use all the powers of the Empress at your disposal, like, you are the Empress. You choose to, like, walk your own path and, like, not be that serious. You're like, I'm gonna do whatever, I'm gonna be reckless, because you're kind of just having fun and being your inner child. You're not too worried about, like, things happening now for you. You're sort of letting things run their course, and that's what really, like, makes things manifest so easily for you. So you're hearing that whatever comes will become fruitful for you, or you find work easily, or you're able to work with others easily. Also, any work you do, money will flow to you quite easily. You have the ability to turn on people and cut them off in a way where they are forced to grow and change. Because you ghost people when you find that they've been doing you wrong or just been doing wrong in general. You don't even explain yourself. And also I'm hearing that, like, again, like, you have the power of the Empress at your disposal, but you also have the power to do the complete, not opposite, but you know, the Empress can be really light, loving, nurturing energy, and you can actually, in contrast, really be very cold and unforgiving to people when they deserve it, of course. And that's like a really strong power. Like, you frighten people almost sometimes with this like divine energy of like, I'm not your projection. I'm not the projection of who you think I am. I'm my own person. And you sort of show people the truth that they were blinding themselves to. You shine a light on people's shadows, and then they like get scared out of their mind, and they're like, I don't want to see that. And so they blame you for it. Or they resent you for it. Or they like to convince themselves that you were the toxic one. But in reality, you were just mirroring their true colors back at them. Because you never enter this like frightful Empress energy, because you're able to use this like power and like this feminine power to your advantage to like intimidate people, scare people, manifest things, like And anyone who underestimates you always ends up regretting it, or always ends up like so fixated on your energy. And we have, look at this, we have 3 with the Empress, and then we have 3 with the 3 of Pentacles. My pile 333. So yeah, you're able to keep it light and fun. You're able to see the innate playfulness in the universe. You're not focused on these serious topics of like harvest, having to cut out the last ones. These are all serious matters, but on the other hand, you're just like walking away. You're like, nah, we can do that in another lifetime. How about let's try something different for a change? And your ideas bring something to the table that sort of makes the gears start going. Like, you're the initiator, if that makes sense, to like events in the material world. What do my pile 3's ancestors want to say to my pile 3? What do my pile 3's ancestors want to say? There's a lot they want to say. You have a lot of ancestors watching over you, and they all have a lot to say about you, to you. Your ancestors want to reassure you of the path you've chosen, or the path that you're going to choose. They want to assure you of your future and assure you that your faith is true and pure in what you believe and what you're passionate for. Your ancestors are reminding you that you're meant to operate from an emotional world. Just don't get too caught up to the point where you get stuck in one place and you're not growing or changing. But you're meant to operate from like an emotional world and like sort of be in your own level. So like don't get deterred when people don't understand you, or get annoyed because they don't understand your energy. Don't try to like dumb your energy down or anything like that. Just stay in your own energy, basically. We have strength with the 9 of Wands. Your ancestor is saying there's something you're going to go through soon that's going to like be a burden on you. There's something you sort of haven't found the answer yet, and it's going to keep burdening you until you find the answer. Like, you've even thought of everything in the situation, you've balanced everything out, but you still haven't found the answer because it's meant to come with time. It's not meant to be here yet. So just have strength for the situation, because it's sort of like a repeated pattern that's like happened to you often, and you don't know why. You're very confused because you're in the dark about a lot of stuff about this situation. And the reason you're in the dark is because your ancestors are trying to keep you from a lot of ruin and a lot of overthinking and a lot of stuff that you just aren't meant to know. You really aren't meant to know, because honestly, with the people around you and the people in your life that are affecting you, like, I guess family and stuff, just sort of the type of people you have no control over whether or not they're in your life, if that makes sense. They have a lot of confusion within themselves, and they're causing you a lot of confusion. So just like, yeah, stay in your own energy is basically what they're saying, because you're gonna get messages at all angles from the people in your like 3D world that are gonna be like, you need to move on from this, you need to move on from this, but just like make your own decisions when it comes to what actions you want to take. Because this thing that has been burdening you for a while, this thing that has been burdening your soul and like has been causing you pain that like wakes you up in the middle of the night and you have nightmares about it, I don't know, I feel like your ancestors have like, they urgently want you to like, they want you to know that like, this is an intrinsic part of your fate and your family's fate. Like, it's something that's just part of your bloodline and you can't control it. And I know it confuses you a lot. They know it confuses you a lot. Like, it's really hard for you to operate because of these things going on, because you do live in this sort of emotional world. And when the people in your life are bringing in this devil energy and like telling you that that's the way to be and teaching you that that's how you should operate with your world, then, you know, I mean, obviously there's going to be complications with that because, you know, these are the people you love telling you that there's no other way. And I really feel like your ancestors are stressing that you don't get too stuck with this, because I know that it has been like a repeated burden, like maybe even over your past lives, and that it has caused you a lot of like past pain and sorrow. And so you kind of just have to like surrender to the situation, not think too much about it, and sort of just react with your gut and your truth, and not overthink the situation, because you just have like a lot going on in your life constantly. But you're the Queen of Swords here. Like, you cut any bullshit down. You just have to like stay strong, stay in your power. Like, trust your ancestors are there to help you grow, because you've constantly gone through defeats. But like, I know you believe in yourself, Pal 3. And I know you doubt yourself sometimes, and that's okay, because everybody does. But your ancestors want you to know that you're beautiful and that like, you're not a failure. The things you do aren't futile. Your beliefs, your passions aren't meaningless. Like, even though your ancestors are stressing to you, even though you have no real like, you feel like you have no real power in the situation to like influence your situation the way you want with the people in your life, and you feel like you can't move on from a certain thing, like you have no other choice, they want you to know that you like are sort of being put in a position by the universe where like, I got Eight of Swords, but I didn't see it in a bad way. I saw it as like, these swords surrounding you in a circle are blocking you off from the rest of the world so that you can be alone. And this blindfold is covering your eyes so that you can see with your third eye and not have to see what's going on outside of the swords that are protecting you. Because I'm feeling like the people that are in your life are just like constant chaos. And that's just something you can't escape. But you can still find a whole bunch out through this darkness. Like, I know you feel like you're blindfolded right now. You're definitely blindfolded right now. You're stuck in a really shitty position. But you have grown from that shitty position to like make so much. Literally, the Wheel of Fortune, you've made so many good things out of all the shitty situations that have been thrown at you. Like, you don't realize the power you have within yourself to like make something new out of a situation and change other people's perspectives. And even if you can't change other people's perspectives, just like change the situation for the better, not only for yourself but for other people who deserve better. Never doubt your abilities, never doubt your intuition, your emotional world. Even when people bring you down for it or say that you don't know what you're doing or you don't know where you're going in life. And make sure to never feel guilty about what you love and your passions. In fact, you should hone more in on what you love and your passions. You should put more energy into it. And just express that in your everyday life with who you are. In spite of everyone who thinks you should do otherwise or be otherwise, or expects you to be different. Okay, if you chose this Alexandrite, this beautiful teardrop Alexandrite, this is going to be your reading. Let's see. I'm hearing that your ancestors have a specific tie with the country or nature. Mother Nature, Mother Earth. Let's see, what do your spirit ancestors want to tell you, my pile 4? What do your ancestors want to say to you at this current moment, the current energy of your ancestors? I feel like your destiny is really sad, pile 4. We have the Ace of Swords. You're very knowledgeable. Your ancestors want to say you're a lot smarter than you think. Maybe you're not conventionally smart, but you stand in truth in the way that others don't consistently do. There's a lot to be said in what you can do that others can't do. We have the Knight of Swords. And then we have the Princess of Swords. So we might have some air signs here. We have all swords energy. I love Geminis. Be still, be observant, is what your ancestors are saying. Observe your surroundings and the people around you. Specifically, there might be something that somebody around you or somebody you're close to is going through that you aren't aware of. But you'll be able to notice if you just sort of take a step back and observe. Your ancestors are saying if there's something that has been bothering you, you need to speak up about it to whoever it is. Or ask somebody for advice if it isn't about another person or about a situation. You need to ask for advice if you can. And if not that, then you need to meditate. Your ancestors are telling you to stress quality over quantity. You're able to spill out a lot of little tiny miracles, and there's nothing wrong with making a bunch of tiny things. I think that's perfectly beautiful. It's just like it would also be cool to try making one big thing. You can always go back to making a bunch of tiny things. Okay, I don't know if I'm making sense, but like maybe it's that your ancestors want you to change up your routine in some sort of creative pursuit. You put your energy in increments of just like this much effort, this much effort, this much effort. And of course there's nothing wrong with that. You can always go back to doing that. But they want you to try building up one huge thing and putting a lot of energy into one specific thing over time. Maybe some sort of project that you've been sort of really inspired by or passionate about. I'm hearing that laying outside and looking at the sky or looking at the clouds is a good form of divination for you, or a good form of meditation for you, or a good way for you to be able to talk to your ancestors or spirit guides. I'm also hearing that your downloads are coming from the sky, so I'm feeling like you have contact with people not only beyond the veil, but beyond the stars, like in other galaxies and other star systems. You're receiving downloads from very major groups of social memory complexes in other galaxies, meaning entities who have come together as third dimensional beings to create one fourth dimensional being or fifth dimensional being, way off in other star systems. Like, these are aliens, but they're able to project their consciousness, project downloads of information across, the sky, and you have a strong ability to receive those things because even if you're not an air sign, you might operate in the air elemental world, in the world of the mind and the maze of the mind and thoughts. Because you give me this Ace of Swords energy, like you are this sword, clear cut and true and precise. And there's this certain light about the truth. With this Princess of Swords here, it looks like there are pentacles surrounding her. Pentacles and pentacles. Your ancestors want you to know there's a lot of abundance that awaits you. You should share your truth. Share your beliefs and your passions, because it will bring you a lot of abundance and bring other people a lot of abundance. Because shedding light on things, shedding the light of truth onto things, is like no other light, It can really help. Especially instead of putting a little bit of energy into different aspects of your life, putting a lot of your light into one specific thing that you want to express, or opportunity, one little pentacle. Because there's something you can share with other people that would shed light on the truth. And with this Knight of Swords here, I'm feeling it's not that you're trying to only do a little bit of energy at a time. It's just you reach so many people. You're constantly flitting between person to person. And it's not like you're wasting time. It's just your energy is so fast. You connect people on such a deep level and so fast. You just do it like that, like lightning. You see straight through people. You cut straight through them like that, so quickly, and it's crazy. You cut through them with the light, and you cut through any shadows, and some people, it really spooks the fuck out of them because they feel like the only parts of themselves they know are their shadows, and so they feel like they completely died when you do that. That's why you gotta be more careful with who you associate your energy with, is what your ancestors are saying, because not everybody deserves that help, that clarity that you bring. Because you stand in such clarity, you manifest a lot of good karma and abundance, and not everybody deserves a slice of that cake. For real. Not everybody deserves you, Pile 4. You are special. You are unique. What is your special ancestral power? My Pile 4, what is your ancestral power? We have Knight of Blades in reversed. We have Two of Cups. Ooh. And Two of Swords. Okay. Okay. She calling me Hercules. Okay. Part of your ancestral power is you're very humble. You're not on your high horse. But not only that, like, you're very flexible. You're very open-minded. You're not fixated on one sort of way of doing things. You're open to all options. Part of your ancestral power is like, even though, so like your way of communication to some people might be seen as weird or not right, or I don't know, something like that, but for some reason your way of communication is actually perfect in that way. It's like just off to the point where it's actually perfect. Like it's imperfect to the point of it being perfect. And I don't know if that makes sense, but there's something about the way you talk, the way you communicate, where you're not trying to be perfect. You're literally not even trying. You're just expressing yourself. And a lot of people like don't like it. Like it triggers them. It's like nails on a chalkboard to them. Like sometimes like they just get bothered by you. But for other people it's like the words you're saying or how you're expressing it is just hitting exactly the right spots where it's just like, oh, it clicks. Like it makes sense. So maybe you just have a way with words or a way with expression. And what's significant about your way of expression is you don't push it onto people. It's very subtle. I'm hearing subtle intensity, like but it's definitely something you're not trying to push on other people. It's something that other people observe about you. Especially with this Two of Cups energy, you're never giving too much and you're never taking or you're never giving too little, you know? It's always balanced energy with you and other people. You always meet people where exactly they've met you. And with this Two of Swords here, I'm like, you have the ability to see both sides of the story. You have the ability to see the details and the long run, you know? For some of you, I'm hearing you know how to compromise. Like, you know how to you know how to settle arguments and while still leaving both people satisfied or feeling seen or heard. And this takes a lot of emotional intelligence and the capacity to be patient. I'm hearing part of your ancestral power is the ability to pick both paths of the light and the dark, and to be able to wield your divine feminine and divine masculine very balanced. You might have a very androgynous manner, my power force. I just want to say there's something so dark and beautiful about your destiny. There's something so sad and like beautiful about you. Maybe that's part of your ancestral power. It's just people are like, oh, they're so sad, so beautiful. Maybe, and with this Two of Cups here, people like dote over you and like see themselves in you and feel this like connection with you.
it's like when people look into your eyes, they're just like, they feel like they're dancing with you and dancing with your soul, and like, I feel like it's like siren energy. You bring people in, like they feel like you're singing to them through your eyes. You remind people of their own death. Maybe your vibe or your aura is just a lot like dark to the point where it reminds people of death or like really dark things. But it's sort of kind of humbling in a way because it makes people like count their blessings almost. And like, your power is the ability to not make decisions and have things just happen for you. Like, you don't choose like a path, you don't make a choice, you just sort of like go with it. Like, that can be a problem in some ways, but for you, it somehow just turns out all right. Because, like, I don't know, you're just such an air sign type energy that it's impossible for you not to see all sides of the situation. So it's like you're already living in both paths. Maybe you get these downloads, maybe you are super connected to the fourth dimension already, to the point where you're already, even when you choose one path, you're already like empathetically feeling the part of yourself that's going down the other path, to the point where you've experienced both realities. And that's why there's such mutuality within you, because you can literally feel the reality of the people you're with. That's what makes you this humble knight of blades who walks next to his horse instead of on top of it. Like, you're not a super domineering person, you're actually very helpful. You help people grow strong just by like being there, because you make people want to fight for you and fight for themselves in turn. There's just something so humbling about your energy. And you're a very loving person. Like, your ancestral power is your ability to be so loving and so like beautiful with your Two of Cups energy that like literally your love is your power. Like, you can use the love you have for things to your advantage, like just opening your heart and like letting love flow forth. That's like where your power is strongest, is what I'm hearing. And you have major influential powers. Power 4. You can influence literally any situation to anything. There are infinite possibilities.